The Armed Forces of Nigeria says the plans and efforts of the criminal elements to perpetrate nefarious activities so as to discredit the government and efforts of security forces will in no longer deter the military from sustaining the tempo of operations.
These operational efforts of the Nigerian military are intended to achieve sustainable peace, to ensure that normalcy returns to all troubled zones of our dear country. The plans and efforts of the criminal elements to perpetrate nefarious activities so as to discredit the government and efforts of the security forces will in no way deter us from sustaining the tempo of our operations.
The Director of Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Bernard Oyonko, made this declaration during a media briefing on the updates of the operational activities of the Armed Forces of Nigeria at the Defense Headquarters in Abuja on Thursday.
Within the period under focus, troops of the Armed Forces of Nigeria remain resolute in their operations and engaged in series of kinetic and non-kinetic operations in all the theaters of major and subsidiary operations. We have also worked cooperatively and in great synergy with other security and intelligence agencies to gain several successful and credible outcomes in our operations.
He noted that the armed forces have worked cooperatively and in great synergy with other security and intelligence agencies to gain several successful and credible outcomes in all operations.
For our land operations, our gallant troops have been actively engaged in constant clearance patrols, ambush, raid, picketing, cordon and search operations, as well as heavy bombardments. In the maritime environment, our troops conducted various operations involving anti-piracy, anti-illegal oil bunkering, anti-crude oil theft, anti-pipeline vandalism, and anti-smuggling operations. More so, the air component conducted comprehensive air operations, which included air patrols, intelligence surveillance and recognizer missions, offensive air strikes and interdictions, search and rescue operations, as well as close air supports for the ground troops. As a result of these operations, our troops neutralized scores of terrorists and bandits, including senior Boko Haram and Islamic State of West African Province terrorists, and the Eastern Security Network commanders, as well as major bandit leaders. Similarly, many of their fighters were incapacitated and their camps destroyed through artillery and air bombardment. Also, troops rescued several kidnapped victims and arrested bandits and kidnappers, informants and collaborators in different parts of the country. Our operations also inhibited activities of economic saboteurs, as well as exposed and forestalled other criminal activities. Troops also recovered several large caches of arms and ammunition, as well as equipment, vehicles, and livestock within the period. In the maritime domain, our troops disrupted smuggling activities, immobilized illegal oil refining sites, arrested some perpetrators, seized illegally imported rice and other contraband goods, as well as recovered some petroleum products. Although within this period also, some of our personnel paid the supreme price in the course of these operations. Our dogged troops consistently demonstrated gallantry and resilience.
The military therefore encouraged every well-meaning Nigerian to support the efforts of Armed Forces of Nigeria and other security agencies by providing credible and timely information that will facilitate proactive engagement to address threats. Olayemi Eson reporting.